After Imhotep awakens, looking up at the moon, he then says, "I have eyes and tongue. Akiten must be beginning his regeneration. I must stop him." Meanwhile, in a hotel room, Helen sleeps and then awakens feeling a cold chill all of a sudden on a warm night. She then goes into the bathroom, has a glass of water before going to bed. She then gets the feeling that she's not alone. She then turns around and looks in horror as she sees a mummified Akiten reaching his hand out to her, calling her Anuk-Sermun. She then screams loud. Hearing the commotion, Fred and Joseph then burst through, along with Carl Fred. They then look and go, "Whoa, what the hell? I don't believe it, an actual mummy," said Friend. Then Frank grabs a vase, smashing it over Akiten. Akiten then rises, and then, as he is about to unleash something terrifying, he then sees a cat stroll into the room. He then looks and is horrified by it before turning into sand and retreating away. Then Frank asks, "Are you all right?" "Yes, it was a mummy. I mean, I don't believe in that nonsense. This has to be a nightmare." Professor Carl then says, "Oh, it is not a nightmare. It is very real, and that is why I am here. I must alert my forces." Then Joseph says, "Wait. You're going to tell us exactly what's going on, who you are, and where you're from. I've told you I am of the Foundation, an organization whose job has been to create the illusion that man is alone. Now, please, I must alert my men." Meanwhile, in the city, Imhotep walks among the city as it sleeps, seeing a fez on a man. The man in the fez then says, "Hello? Is someone there? Could you tell me what year this is?" "What?" "Please, can you tell me the year? Do you need help? Just please tell me the year." "The year is 1932. 1932, said Imhotep. "The 20th century. Yes? Why are you hiding in the darkness? Is something wrong?" "I am awakening, or awakened. I'm very sorry." "About what? I'm sure you are a good person." Imhotep then steps into the moonlight. Before the man in the fez has a chance to scream, Imhotep drains him of his life force and regenerates his body. He then says to the man, I am so sorry for what I have done. Imhotep then grabs his fez and places it on his head. Meanwhile, Akiten looks over the city of Cairo in the night. He then notices he is also regenerating and gaining more human features, then saying, Imhotep must be feeding. Imhotep then goes to a quiet place and sits down, where he meditates, making a connection with Akiten. Then Akiten sees him, saying, Imhotep. Akiten, what you've come to take my throne again in this life. We have been dead for 3,000 years. These humans, these mortals, they have no idea what we are. By now we must be stories to them. Of course, that is what we are. Makes it a lot easier to fool them. And with our blood connection, we share memories too, and according to your memory, there are great things that I can do, such as the Gate of Stars, a gateway that allows me to open a portal to another realm where I can summon the armies of Set. Set. Yes, I had an arrangement with him in the underworld. Of course, you went to a nice place, didn't you, because you were kind? Tell me, did you see my sister in the afterlife? I did not. I was cursed. Of course. My sister Anuxaramun is not dead, is why. She has clearly been reincarnating over the centuries, and she has her reincarnate here, in Cairo. You do believe me, don't you? Imhotep then sees into his mind, saying, You speak the truth, but she clearly has no memory of that past life. For God's sake, leave the woman alone. If you have any quarrels, please take it with me, but you can't open this gate. Not even I know of the location of this gate. According to the stories, it was within the oasis of the Golden Pyramid, which I believe contains ancient matter of the gods, and with that I will use my power of thought to open that gate. I will break this blood bond between us. Even then, I will still have your knowledge as you have mine. I was always destined to be king, and you took that from me. Then, before Imhotep has the chance to explain, he is then trapped by a net made of mercury. He then says, What is this? Magic. Then Carl appears saying, It's not magic, it's science. It's my understanding that mercury is your weakness, as they use it as part of an embalming process. So you speak English? Yes. I have the power of modern knowledge. I've seen and observed this modern world. I know enough to know that I was awoken by a woman of English, speaking in ancient Egyptian. Now please, you have to release me, not so fast. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's take him to the museum. We shall question him further there. The next morning, Helen, Joseph and Frank talk about what happened. Joseph wonders, so why did this mummy flee at the sight of a cat? Because, Helen says, cats are guards of the underworld, and as long as he remains in a weakened state, he will fear them. Then Carl comes in saying, am I interrupting? Professor, I have caught this mummy of yours. Perhaps you want to see it. They then head to the museum, where they see Imhotep sitting in a pool of mercury chained up. Helen then looks and says, my God, is this real? Then Imhotep looks at Helen and then says, it is you, Anuk-Saramun. Why is he calling you that? Said Carl. It's what the other one called me. Wait, what do you mean, other one? This isn't the mummy that attacked me or tried to attack me. This is a different one. Are you sure? I mean, they all look the same, wrapped up corpses. No. Let me speak with it. Speak with it? It's a dead corpse in bandages, and somehow is maintaining the appearance of a human. Let me alone with him. I want to talk. Then Helen starts to have memories that she's not familiar with, a flashback of some previous life. Frank then says, are you all right? Yes, I'm fine. Helen then approaches Imhotep. She then says, what's going on here? Who are you? You are Anuk-Saramun. At least her reincarnation. What are you talking about? You know of the legends of me? My pharaoh king? Yes. I thought that was just in the history books, and the whole hocus pocus mumbo jumbo was just a story, a myth. That's the thing. With thousands of years, we become mythical. But I can tell you that we are real. And you were once my lover, the king's daughter, Anuk-Saramun. Then she then has another vivid memory of that life. She then says, what's going on? Ever since I saw you, I've had memories of something I don't remember. It seems that your previous lifetime is resurfacing and you are remembering. Then Imhotep feels a strain in him. He then gains more flesh and starts to look more human. She then says, what's going on? If you know the legends, you know what happened in my final moments. Yes, you made some ritual and bounded your blood with Prince Akiten and... Wait, what do you mean? Prince Akiten. He's here. Then, Foundation agents start firing away. Carl then saying, "What's going on here? It seems that this mummy isn't backing down. Did you get the mercury bullets? We're currently making them. We can't get them all done. You must try." Then Carl then says, "Excuse me, Prince Akiten, is it?" Akiten, as he drains the life force of another guard, regenerating his body fully, this time looking human. He then says, "I am Akiten." Carl then picks up a cross as Akiten approaches him, but does not work. He then gets out the Islam moon and other religious symbols that don't seem to work. Then Akiten sees the Star of David, saying, "The symbol of the slaves. You could be of use to me. Tell me, how would you like to live forever at my side? It will be your reward if you serve me. As much as the offer is tempting, I have to decline. What do you want?" "I want the book." "The book?" "Yes, which I believe is in this museum, or, well, is with your prisoner." "Wait, yes. This mummy had a book, and what do you want with it?" "It gives me the location to the Stargate." "The Stargate?" "Yes." Then Carl remembers. Wait, hold on a moment. He then sees another cat just wandering into the museum. He picks it up and shows him. Akiten then says, "I have fully regenerated my body. I am immune now. So now I will have great delight in killing you if you do not wish to join me." Then a Foundation guard shoots Akiten. This time he feels it, as it is a mercury bullet. He then goes up to the guard and quickly snaps his neck. As Carl quickly gets away, then, where Imhotep is chained up, Helen tries to convince Frank and Joseph that the mummy Imhotep is good and he wishes to stop him. Then they are too late. Carl then comes in and says, "We have to release this mummy now. He is on our side and he wants to stop this Akiten from releasing some army." "Has he got the book?" "The book? Oh shit," said Carl. Akiten then takes the book and then blows away into sand. Imhotep then says, "Release me if you wish to live." They then release him and take him out of the mercury pool, where he also vomits out some mercury. He then says, "You don't know what you've done. You, Helen, you read from the book. You awoken both of us. I didn't even believe in any of this supernatural stuff until recently. But all the same, you have awoken a great evil, a chain reaction which could bring upon the next apocalypse. And if my timing is right, the event is near." "Event?" "Yes, the event where the planets align, weakening the barriers between worlds, which occur, to my knowing, once, sometimes rarely twice in a century. Of course, I heard about this. Yes, this is what one of our founders of the Foundation said. Mr. Dorian Gray, his name was, and his colleague, Griffin, who is an invisible man. Well, he sadly passed away, but his son takes his place, who also has invisibility gifts. What are you talking about? Said Helen. It's complicated. You see, the Foundation, we tend to understand what is natural and unnatural, and if it is good and poses no threat, we allow it to coexist and work with us, so that we can understand it even more. I really don't know what's right and what's real anymore. Then Helen starts to have another flashback of a previous life. Hearing her father in that life being murdered by Akiten. Colin says, "What's going on?" "I seem to be having memories. Memories that I don't remember having. Something of a past life." "You are my former lover, Anuxiramun, reincarnate. I need you to explain everything to me. I must stop Akiten before he finds this oasis." "No, you are going to tell me everything." "Very well. Over 3,000 years ago, I was the Pharaoh's high priest and advisor. I began a love relationship with his daughter, Anuxiramun, your ancestor, your first life. I had his blessing." "I know, in the end, according to the myth," said Carl, "you was offered the role of king. But out of Akiten's jealousy and rage, he framed you for his murder that he committed." "Yes, that's right," said Joseph and Frank. "You are this priest that put a curse on him?" I fooled him. He wanted to be immortal, and to make sure that he does not go back on his word, I pulled out an insurance policy. I bounded our blood together, so that when anything should happen to me, the same thing will happen to him. Of course, he did go back on his word, and by doing so, he mummified me alive and removed my tongue and my eyes. But then the same thing had happened to him, and he died. Now, I don't know exactly what happened after, but I know that Anuxiramun lived a full life as Queen of Egypt. Over time she grew and died, but I never saw her once in the afterlife. She kept reborning herself, reliving life after life, and now you are her latest reincarnate, Helen." "So we were lovers in my past life?" "Indeed. I understand if you do not feel the same way now as I still do for you." "Love?" "Yes." Then Imhotep starts to have visions, seeing what Akiten sees. Then, all of a sudden, Imhotep levitates into the air as he lets out a huge screaming roar. He then drops to the ground, and then does not feel the presence of Akiten anymore. Joseph and Frank then say, "What's going on?" "Yes, tell us." "Akiten, with my connection, we share the same mind, and with my knowledge of the book and my ways of magic of the gods, he has used my knowledge against me. He's broken the blood bond, meaning now I have no idea what he's capable of doing next. We need to get to that oasis and that pyramid, and we need to find it. You don't know where it is, says Carl. Let me think. Imhotep then sits as he begins to remember, thinking when he was connected to Akiten before he perfected the spell that separated their blood bond. He then starts to remember that Akiten did look at the book, and it had coordinates. He then says, I have the coordinates. Carl then writes them down and says, right, we must head there, arrange transport. Well, you can make your way there, Mr. Oh yes, friend, Carl friend. I'm here on behalf of the Foundation. It's an organization that creates the illusion that man is alone, etc. Basically, so people like these three don't know of creatures like you. You will leave these people alone when this is done. We have the same cause, the protection of this world. You can count me as your ally in this. But right now, we need to stop Akiten from doing this thing, summoning the army. Now, if it is my understanding, the planets haven't fully aligned yet, meaning no ritual or chain reaction has been activated. Meaning we have time to stop him. Well, like I said, I will make my way there with a group of agents who are trained in this field. Hopefully by then we'll have enough mercury bullets. Make sure you do. Well, how are we to get there? Yeah, how are we? Said Joseph and Frank. Of course. Imhotep then turns into a raging sandstorm and captures the trio, Helen, Frank and Joseph, within the sand tornado as they blow off into the sky as night falls in. Meanwhile, as the night comes in, the sandstorm is on the desert, which soon subsides. Akiten then looks down and finds the oasis, then saying, and the pyramid is in the center. Soon I will have this army and this world, because if I could not have my kingdom, then I will make this world my kingdom. Then he makes his way into the oasis as he blows into a breeze of sand once again. Later on, as the sun rises, another sand tornado is spinning onto the desert sand, spitting out Helen, Frank and Joseph, and the sand tornado soon settling and turning into Imhotep. Imhotep then looks and says, "We've found it." Imhotep, Helen, Frank and Joseph then look from a distance as they see the oasis and look upon it. "So the oasis is real?" said Helen. "It is. We must get to this pyramid before Akiten does, and before he finds a way inside it. Because if he finds the Stargate, there's no telling what he could unleash." "Say, where are these Foundation people?" then a jeep, an old motor car, appears, along with some camels, Carl riding one of them. He then says, "Have I arrived in time for anything?" "Yes," said Imhotep. "We must attempt to save the world, because if we don't, Akhenaten will surely rule over it."